Hey, today I'm talking about three 1960s Japanese kaiju films that don't feature Godzilla and that I didn't particularly care for. And the names of those three films are The War of the Gargantuas, Atragon, and The X from Outer Space. First up is The War of the Gargantuas. This is a 1966 film that I didn't realize is actually a sequel to another 60s film, but it's okay. The basic premise is, a few years ago, this mad scientist made a giant Frankenstein monster who kind of just looks like a big hairy ape man. And people think that he's back now. Maybe, is he back? It seems like he's back, but it turns out, no, he's not back. It's actually like somehow some cells of him broke off and it turned into this other guy. So it's like his brother clone thing, essentially. He's the one wrecking havoc, but also turns out the other one is back, but he's good. And it's pretty good. It's okay. The story is interesting enough. This definitely had a good size budget. So like the effects do look good for the time. There's a decent amount of action throughout. I don't know. It just like kept putting me to sleep, which I don't know if it was just like me on day of or if it was the movie itself. That is almost my thought with all three of these movies because I didn't particularly care for all of them. And I do just kind of wonder if I just wasn't in like the exact right headspace, or like if I should have just watched these with like friends while drinking, if that would have made it better. Like if I just didn't quite set myself up for success with these films. But this one was fine. It was okay. It just, I don't know, it just didn't quite work for me. Didn't quite grab me. So do I recommend it? No. I mean, of these three, yes, if you're gonna watch one, but in general, no. Fun fact, I have seen a clip from this before because a clip of this was used in a different Godzilla movie that I watched 3 years ago. So it is technically canon within the Godzilla universe. Next up is Atragon. This is a 1963 film, and the basic premise is surprisingly similar to Wakanda Forever. So basically, there is this ancient underwater civilization, Atlantis, except Japanese, who are technologically advanced, and they are ready to attack the surface world for reasons. Again, the story itself was interesting. I kind of wonder with this one if more so my issue was the translation, because, you know, I don't speak Japanese, so I have to watch either subbed or dubbed. And whoever did the translating, I think took some liberties and got rid of some of the story. Because like when they were explaining the backstory of the people and like their plan and stuff, that was super, super interesting. But then like some of their actions, they're just like, we're kidnapping you to be slaves. And I'm like, why? You're not kidnapping these two people to be slaves. You sought these two people out for a different purpose. So yeah, I think that's where this one went wrong, is it got lost in translation. Also, the kaiju in the movie is barely in it, and I don't think does anything. There's a statue of the kaiju that actually does more than the actual kaiju does, which is sad. I mean, like, the statue is really cool, and it blew up a lot of ships. Those explosions look great, but yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, again, I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe if you can find like better translated version, but I don't know if that exists because like who in general cares about random kaiju films from the 60s? Not a lot of people. But if there is one who's dedicated enough to make a better version, let me know, because I'm probably check that out. I don't recommend this version though. And lastly is The X from Outer Space. This is a 1967 film, and the basic premise is your very standard story of some people go into space, some shenanigans happen up there, so now they have like a thing attached to their ship. They go back to Earth and like, hey, what's this thing? Oh, it's an egg for a kaiju. Kaiju wreaks havoc. It goes to power plants to eat up power. The heroes then figure out how to destroy it. They destroy it. End of movie. So that was really frustrating. This also doesn't have a great budget. You can definitely see the strings more with this one. Something I did like about this one was that it totally passed the Bechdel test, in that it had multiple women with names who talk to each other about things other than men. I would almost even go as far to say as the main character is Lisa, one of the women. She's not the top billed actor, but she definitely has the most to do in this film. And I really love her relationship with the other main woman. There is technically a love triangle thing that happens, but it feels like such an afterthought. But yeah, I do praise the movie for its positive portrayal of women. Good job, 60s movie. Otherwise though, it's very unoriginal and boring and there's not a lot of story. Though again, the story part could just be because of a bad translation. But yeah, so it's not great. I didn't hate it though. It's fine. When the kaiju finally appears, which is very late in the movie, they're like in it for the rest of the movie, just wrecking havoc. I do kind of wish the kaiju would have like grown and evolved because it went from like an egg to fully grown. But I do love the first time we see the kaiju because it's like a mountain's exploding and the kaiju just kind of appears in the middle of the explosions, but like you can clearly tell that these actual explosions are happening around the real costume. So like this dude is standing in this flames. That's really cool. But yeah, in general though, didn't really care for the movie, don't recommend it. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got The War of the Gargantuas, sitting number 138 in the meh category. And then not too terribly far behind is Atragon, sitting at number 142, also in the meh category. And then bringing up the rear is The X from Outer Space, sitting at number 144, again in the meh category. This has a total of 162 old movies so far this year.